Green Street Elites. By the fans, for the fans.
Prince the producer.
Hello and welcome back to Green Street Elites. Slightly different take on the in-crowd type format today. We're going to call it Overland and Sea because I've got a guest here from the Czech Republic, and many of you will already know him. His name is Zdenek. I'll bring him in now. Hi, Zdenek. How are you?
Hi, Clive. I'm good, thanks.
Good.
Thanks for inviting me onto your channel.
You're very welcome, my friend, and it's been a long time coming. We've known each other for quite a while now. We've had good fortune to meet each other, which we'll get into a little bit more later. But yeah, it's been a long time coming. So, you know, we finally nailed down some time we both have, and here we are.
Well, it's an honor. It's an honor to be here.
Yeah. Many people might have a frown upon their face at the moment because the man I'm talking to is obviously wearing an Arsenal shirt. Now, those of you that already know him will know that Zdenek is an Arsenal fan foremost. But as you'll discover later, he's also a football fan and a fan of great teams. So, to start off with, how and when did you start following Arsenal?
That's a really good question. To those people that are frowning upon this, I could be a Tottenham fan, which would be much worse. Okay.
Great point. Great point. Yeah.
Right. So back in 2005, I was working in London. It was in my early 20s, and I lived near the Finsbury Park. Or actually, it was in Finsbury Park, and then also in Manor House, which is really within a stone's throw from the old Highbury, the old Arsenal stadium.
Yeah.
And so it was very common for me to meet and bump into Arsenal fans. I saw them on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Back then, I didn't really I had been playing football for a long time, and I had been a football fan. But back then, I didn't really support Arsenal. I can't really say that. However, I had been to a one match at the old Highbury Stadium. That was a match, Arsenal versus Sparta Prague. But I even think I was supporting Sparta Prague back then, even though I wasn't a Sparta Prague fan. But the point is, I only realized that I should start supporting Arsenal after I came back here to the Czech Republic and started studying at university. As you know, I'm an English teacher, so 1 year after I came back, I got into a university and I started studying English teaching. And then it became obvious to me that I had to pick a team, a Premier League team, because obviously I was getting stuck in the culture, in the British culture, and me being a football fan, I mean, it was a natural course of action. So, I picked Arsenal because, first of all, I had lived there, very near there, right? I had gone to the Finsbury Park to play football with the locals a lot.
Right.
I would say every other day almost. And on top of that, there was a Czech player playing in the Arsenal shirt, Tomáš Rosický. And
I'll remember him.
He had been one of my favorite players. He had been one of my favorite players anyway, even before coming to Arsenal, because he was in Borussia Dortmund, a German club, one of the best Czech players. And if you are from a small country like myself, Czech Republic, it's not really a massive country. We have 10 million inhabitants in the middle of Europe, you know. Then it's always nice if you hear something nice about players from your country. And Tomáš Rosický was really loved when he came to Arsenal and became one of the players that the fans really, you know, respected. So that's how I became an Arsenal fan, and I was supporting Arsenal from the Czech Republic, just watching the games. You know, I also have a mate here, Czech mate, who we also lived in England and also loves Arsenal. So we had always watched games together and cheered for Tomáš Rosický. But as you know, it hasn't been that easy for Arsenal for the past, I don't know, as long as I can remember, really, 15 years.
Yeah.
So, but I still support Arsenal. That's why I'm wearing this shirt today.
Yeah, of course. And I actually asked you to wear it, so that people were aware that that actually when it comes to the social media world and stuff, we know that a lot of horrible things happen, but we're trying to promote the fact that there are a lot of good things happening too. And by me wearing my West Ham shirt, you wearing your Arsenal shirt today, it sort of shows that there's a unity within the football community.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were obviously drawn towards Arsenal for obvious reasons, and I suppose had I have been in that kind of situation, maybe that would be my course of action. But also, I happen to know that you're quite keen on West Ham as well, because that's basically how we became in contact with each other, because through a West Ham, was it a West Ham random show?
I think that's where I met you first. Yes.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we kind of contacted each other. We got and you started making it quite clear that West Ham were one of your teams of choice in the UK.
Yeah.
So let's go a little bit into that and why so? I mean,
yeah.
Look, as far as I'm concerned, a West Ham fan from anywhere is welcome. I mean, the fact that you are, as I said at the beginning, first and foremost an Arsenal fan, but you have chosen West Ham as one of the teams that you choose to follow. You've studied a lot about our history, and you know quite a lot about our setup and the players within it, and we have, sometimes we have conversation about such things. So how and why?
Well, I guess it's a boring story. It's very similar to the Tomáš Rosický story.
It's not boring.
I'm an English teacher. I've been teaching English for about 10 years. And in 2019, I went to England again to work there. I worked there for a language school in Oxford Street, on the Oxford Street, actually. And that was cool. But I don't want to be political, but you know what happened with Brexit and all that? That was not the most pleasant time for someone from the Czech Republic, let's say. Yeah. So when Tomáš Souček joined West Ham, and he really hit the ground running, it was such a contrast to all that Brexit negativity and the way, like, I don't want to say I was treated badly, because it's not true. In London, actually, I was given a chance to work there at the language school. I was always treated fairly. I can't say anything wrong, but it's about the media, about the fact that the UK left the European Union. It's difficult not to notice it. And obviously me studying the culture, me always listening to the radio. I had been following this Brexit thing for a long time. Now, Tomáš Souček joining West Ham, he was a player that we saw a potential in the Czech Republic. He had been really great there, but I don't think anyone had envisaged him slotting in so well into the West Ham team. And that was just such a strong moment for me, because obviously I would always wish all the best to Czech players playing in the Premier League, my favorite league. I respect the British culture so much. I've learned so much about it. But obviously I'm also Czech, so for me, like, it's like some sort of, I'm not really a patriotic person so much, to be honest, but because I love football so much, it's always nice to hear if a player from your country does well. It's just, I think it's kind of natural, isn't it?
I mean, similarly even though, as you say, the Premier League is considered to be the highest level of club football, but it's also really nice for us when we hear someone, for example, David Beckham, when he went to Real Madrid and absolutely knocked it out of the park. I mean, we love that kind of success story for one of our players,
Absolutely.
especially for one of our national team players, and in particular, he was our captain. So, it was like the icing on the cake on top of the icing on top of the cake.
I understand.
It was
I
really,
think it's a natural
yeah,
thing,
yeah.
to be like that a little bit. So,
Yeah. So
Tomasz
how did you feel, obviously, then when we brought in Vladimir Coufal as well?
Yeah.
Then
I want to say, like, Tomáš Souček playing so well and West Ham fans loving him from the get-go. It was a really strong moment for me. But when Vladimir Coufal joined and he did exactly the same, that was even more incredible, because, like, we knew Souček was good, and we knew he was like this. He had this strong mentality and he would never give up. So it made sense that he came to West Ham, actually. He chose exactly the right club that fit his personality. But Vladimir Coufal, nobody would expect him to do so well. Like, it was just incredible how that happened. Like, he was not a bad player, but we never knew he was this good. That we never could have imagined him making it in the Premier League. It's not easy, It's not easy to
think in his first season with us, I mean, obviously, he worked hard. He produced some fantastic football. He wanted to impress, and he did that. Obviously, over the last few months, his form has dropped.
I know.
That has also been, partly because of the injury that he sustained. But, we still have a lot of belief in Vladimir Coufal, even though his form has dropped.
Yeah.
I would say a good 70% of the fan base still have a lot of faith in him, because we know how good he is, Let me ask you a little hypothetical question then.
Go on.
So if you knew that Tomáš Souček was able to go and pick one player from the Czech Republic to bring and play with him at West Ham United, obviously, from what you said, you wouldn't have envisaged that being Vladimir Coufal. Who do you think it would have been?
Well, but it is a player that West Ham can't afford, and the player himself wouldn't want to go there. But we have to name Patrik Schick, because I think arguably he's the biggest Czech player at the moment. So
yeah, very much so.
It would have to be him. Like, there are some other all right players, but and maybe some young prospects. We even have some wonder kids, but to be honest, it would have to be Patrik Schick if you ask me to name one player.
Yeah.
So
but
I don't think,
as you say, he's probably not coming to West Ham, is he?
No.
It's probably more likely to be Manchester City or Liverpool if he's going to.
He's more ambitious than that. Basically, he knows.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
He's aware of his qualities. And
and so are we. Which is probably why we've never even been linked with him. But I understand where you're coming from. But Vladimir Coufal would have been pretty low on the list, I imagine.
Well, he was a good player at Slavia. He had he had a spot in the starting 11 every single time. But you wouldn't guess this, honestly. It came out of nowhere. And so, just going back to my story and how I started supporting West Ham, basically by two players being in a club that started even doing really well. Like, okay, in that first season, it was the COVID season. I remember you barely staying up, but Souček helped that. And then the season after, that was an amazing season, And Tomáš Souček and Vladimir Coufal played a big part in that. So it felt great, and I started watching the games, and it's a natural thing to do, Sometimes I have to say this, that you become a little bit biased as a result of this, because you love that player so much, and you want that player to do so well, so much that your judgment gets a bit clouded. So when there is criticism of the Czech players, sometimes you're like, why are they saying this? This is not fair. This is not right. I think it happens more often than not. I can give you another example. So you have got, let's say, some players like Mesut Özil at Arsenal, or even Said Benrahma. And often you have fans from similar countries they come from, or even it's something to do with the religion as well. I would say sometimes. I don't want to get controversial.
No,
What I
but
would
I
say
do
is
agree
that-
with that sentiment. Yeah.
What I would say is that these players often they really divide the fan base. They are divisive because they are either loved or hated. And Mesut Ozil did nothing for years at Arsenal, and he was still one of the most followed and loved players because of that. So I want to say that
I
something
agree.
similar is probably happening to me with Tomáš Souček and Vladimír Coufal sometimes. So I have to hold my hands up. Yeah, it's like that a little bit, but I'm also trying to be like, of course, as you said, I'm a football fan, so I have to be objective as much as I can. But it's hard as well, right? Because they are Czech boys. Yeah.
But without having Vladimir Coufal and Tomáš Souček in our ranks, we probably wouldn't have spoken, maybe. And the fact that we did, and I've appeared on a couple of your shows over the last 8 months or so.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed every opportunity I've had to appear on now. And I actually like the new format. That's really cool. And I think that we've had opportunity now that I've learned enough about you that I know that you're serious about the football side of things. And the fact that you use talking about football to educate people that aren't so well versed with English, let's say, and you do that for free on YouTube. I mean, it's not like it's a subscriber based show or anything like that, or a membership based show.
Well, the idea is that it might give me some kind of publicity, and being an online teacher, it's not always easy because there is a lot of competition.
I understand that.
Especially if you are a non-native English teacher. So I need to find a way to stand out. I need to find a way to appeal to potential clients.
That was going to be my next point. Yeah, that was going to be my next point, which was the fact that you use football, talking about football, and it's not like you don't ask your guests to use specific phrases or whatever ever. I mean, you've often told me just be yourself.
Of course.
And the fact that you teach not only English, but you teach useful street English. I'm not talking about all this gang culture street English. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the useful words in the English language that some people might not get a grasp of. An example of that is when we did a show and I said, "Oh God, that man really gets on my tits," and you actually picked up on it and explained what that meant to somebody.
Yeah.
What that meant to me, and the people in the audience were, had that moment of like education that I would never have kind of thought of. Do you know what I mean? Like using those kind of phrases. I probably would have apologized for that actually, but well, it's the way that you do it. I mean, it's a really unique approach.
I'll tell you what,
like to get a little bit more into that, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what, if you really want to understand, if you really want to get inside the culture, if you really want to understand the fans and start even having relationships with them, if you want to be respected, you have to understand how they talk. You have to be able to understand when they talk, and possibly try to become one of them. Like, I'm not saying you will always have your own identity as a non-native speaker, but you want to get to that as close as possible. And what I do on my channel is I give English learners an opportunity to get exposed to different accents, right? Because we have different football fans. So there's Paul, who is a Scouser, and there's you, like you have the London accent, and that's perfect. And not only native speakers, but also we have Nrub from India. Yeah, I always try to invite guests that have really good English. Yeah, that's my bottom line.
and Pan also last season.
Pan,
we
Pan is
had the
English.
pleasure of
He's
chatting with him.
living in Finland, a Leeds
Finland,
supporter.
yeah.
Then there is
Yeah.
Leontes from the
yeah.
Netherlands, a
Yeah.
Manchester United supporter. He's hiding right now, but he's great. I love this guy.
He's a nice guy, real nice guy.
Exactly.
I mean, you got a really good bunch of people on your channel,
Yeah.
as guests, and I think that the fact that you are, the fact that you are in the position that you are as a teacher, and as an educator, it's not just the teaching; it's you educate as well. And there's a difference, I think. Teaching someone is all very well, but if you don't educate them as to what your little point, do you know what I mean? It kind of, I think there's a thin line between teaching and education, and I think education is the final brushstroke on teaching, if you know what I mean.
For me, it's about caring. So I really care about my students, and I want to offer them the best I can, and I love this job. So that's, I guess, the difference. I'm very, very passionate about it, and I still love learning English myself, right? So I will always be an English learner myself. So there's so much you can learn. Yeah. So I guess I'm killing two birds with one stone as well by inviting you guys on sometimes, Because I learned from this expression to get on your teeth and stuff like that.
So, but that's what I'm saying. The beauty of what you do on YouTube is the fact that you provide that service, and it's free to anybody who wishes to learn. And obviously, equally, there are going to be people that watch this who may even like the opportunity to appear on your show with you and talk about their team. Exactly. Now, I know that you would like to have, people from different teams to come on, on your shows. And if anybody is interested, I will now pop on the screen. I will now put, you donut. Sorry, I've just clicked on the wrong page.
No worries.
Okay, so now on the screen is Zdzenek's contact details and the information for his YouTube channel as well. So there's an email there, and if you'd like to appear on any of Zdenek's shows or even learn English yourself, there's his contact details, his private lessons as well as the public ones that you do. You also have a Discord group.
I do.
I don't have the information for that here, but I will put it in the description for the video when we release it.
That's like a paid membership Discord group, yeah. So as you said it correctly that I do a lot of things for free, but I also have to make ends meet as an English teacher. So obviously, I also charge for my lessons, and I offer group courses and stuff like that. And I also have a Discord group where basically I give usually high-level English learners. We are talking about B2, C1, C2 level, which is like the highest levels. I give them the opportunity to socialize and to get involved in different events that I host there. But that's like a paid membership. Again, like if you're interested, the price is not very high. It's like a monthly membership, and it's just my way to work, another way to work with my students, basically.
Yeah, which incidentally, you gave me a free membership to the group chats, didn't you, last year? But I stopped using Discord because I had so many notifications every day. I was getting like 3,000 odd notifications every day.
You are popular, Clive. Don't be surprised.
Well, yeah. But no, I'm talking about notifications of other people chatting to each other and stuff like that. It was just crazy. So I had to delete the app, So I have actually lost touch with a few people that I was chatting to, but I know that they know where I am and they will find me when they want to chat. So, but moving back to your love of football now. We had the opportunity to meet up in London recently. Unfortunately, it wasn't during the season, so there were no games being played. But we had the good fortune to meet up at Stratford.
Yep.
We did a little podcast that you recorded, which was a bit of fun. I have listened to that a couple of times, and it's quite fun. We went to the Carpenter's Arms. Many of you will be familiar with that. It's a pub local to the stadium. And we had a couple of drinks there, well, a drink there, and we did this podcast there. We had a little chat in the garden. How did you find the Carpenter's Arms? I know it was on a quiet day, but what did you think?
Yeah, it was great. Like, you know what? Like, obviously, if there's one thing you will say Czech people have, it's good beer. Yeah, so we have beer culture in our country too. But I have to say, when it comes to the actual pubs, we may have better beer. But when it comes to the actual pubs and the atmosphere and the kind of people that go to the pub, it's so much better in England. You know, it's just, I feel like there is more, I don't know, it's hard to explain, like more positive vibes, more positive vibes. More character to it,
pub.
you know, and the people are just from all walks of life, not just because in my country, often it's like, it would be just the people, like, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but it's the same with football in England. You have people going to the matches from all walks of life, all kinds of people, working class people, people from, let's say, like blue collar workers, white collar workers, all sorts of people. So that's what I like about English or British pubs in general, you know. So I was a big fan even before going to the Carpenter's Arms, but it was really nice of you to take me there, obviously, to have beer with you. And
it was really nice to spend, you know, a couple of hours with you. I mean, you had quite a tight schedule while you were in London, so
that's right. Yeah.
You know, I appreciated you making time to meet up with me. You know, it was nice.
Why wouldn't I? Come on.
Well, you know, I am a nice guy, aren't I?
Exactly.
But we also walked up to the stadium. Now, unfortunately, that was the day when the stadium was closed off because of a concert that was going on featuring a group called Green Day, whoever that might be.
Yeah.
So we couldn't get anywhere near the actual stadium itself, but we did get given the opportunity to go to the club store, which we did. Spent probably a good 45 minutes to an hour in there.
I think it might have been more than that, Clive.
It may have been, yeah. I had a shirt printed. Which one was that? No, I didn't have one.
Budgie. It says Budgie on the back.
Was it this one?
I don't know, but it says Budgie on the back. I know.
Yeah, I've got. Oh no, it was my. No, sorry. No. It was this year's first choice shirt, the claret one with the. Yeah, that was that one. Yeah, that's right. It was that. I bought that. I bought the training top and a couple of other bits. You bought yourself a top also.
Do you know, I was trying to find something so that I would buy something which is West Ham related, but I also I didn't want to disrespect my club, which means I couldn't go for something too obvious. And when I was even like chatting with the shopping assistant, they were like laughing at my story of, but being a torn football fan, essentially, you know, who has two teams he follows now. I always say I'm an Arsenal fan, but I have a soft spot for West Ham. And there were even times I said I am an Arsenal and I'm a West Ham fan. So it's been hard for me as well. I'm like a schizophrenic in the world of football fans, you know. So you were right in saying that it is frowned upon, but I just try to make fun of myself as much as I possibly can, because I hope it diverts the.
Well, the thing is, if you don't take yourself too seriously when it comes to stuff like that. Obviously, in your profession, you know, you have to, but I would imagine even still there's a certain amount of humor in what you do, because you have natural humor. So
that has to be, Clive. You know why? Because when people are learning English, there are often barriers, you know. People are anxious, people have self-confidence issues.
Right.
Humor is the best remedy for that. It's a great icebreaker. It's just something that breaks the ice. It's just something that will put you at ease.
Yeah.
So you just have to do that. I imagine David Moyes uses humor as well in the dressing room when West Ham are not doing that great, and it could.
I would think so. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
He has a wicked sense of humour. Actually, if you have a look at all of his, post-match and pre-match interviews and stuff, he has got a little bit of a wicked sense of humour. He can shut people down with complete arrogance if he wants to, but he can sometimes give a little quip and people go, "That was actually really funny." He has got. So I can imagine he probably does use humour at times. I wouldn't think it's if we're losing though. I would imagine it's more like the hairdryer treatment that Alex Ferguson would have given.
Probably, yeah. Probably.
So let's take those details off of there. They will be on the description of the video when it goes out, and we will be actually having comments. I mean, we're going to do this as a premiere, so there will be people being able to live comment. So if you'll be able to make it in for that would be nice.
Cool.
We'll do that at a time that's convenient for you.
Yeah.
So anything that you want to talk about now, because obviously, I've been asking all the questions, and is there anything you want to know? Is there anything you'd like to talk about?
I just want to add, because the way I explained how I became a West Ham fan, it sounds like it's all about Vladimir Coufal and Tomáš Souček. I have to say this is how it started, obviously, yes.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, absolutely. But the more I watched the matches, the more I became interested in what the fans had been saying as well, right? Because that's my natural inclination to the English language as such, because I simply love consuming anything that is in English, right? So obviously I started watching some fan channels, reviewing the matches and talking about them in one way or another. That includes Hammer's Chat and West Ham Random, and there's one more I can't remember right now.
Hammers Fans United?
No, there was Stel. His name was Stel.
Oh, West Ham Network.
West Ham Network. So I started watching all these channels. That's how I met you. And I realized that I actually kind of like the West Ham fans. I like their personalities. And I think it must come from the fact that I think there might be a connection, because as an Arsenal fan, me being an Arsenal fan, I haven't really won anything. Okay, 2 FA Cups, that's great, but you expect more as an Arsenal fan, yeah? So that might be one connection, that we have gone through hell, right? A little bit, because West Ham also haven't won much lately, let's be honest. And on top of that, like you have good sense of humor, and you don't take yourselves too seriously either. And I just realized,
you have to be able to swallow a spoonful of banter if you're going to talk to any West Ham fan. There's always going to be banter when
I like that.
Fan, and even some of the more serious West Ham fans that have very serious jobs and stuff like that, they can be some of the most funny people.
I know.
Actually, I want to give a big shout out. Just one moment, sorry. I want to give a big shout out to John Tomsky and all of the guys and girls that do anything for Hammers supporting food banks. They do an amazing job. They've been doing it now for a couple of years, and they're always near the aquatic centre outside the stadium. Go and pay them a visit. Take them some non-perishable goods if you can, or make a donation. I'm supporting food banks. They've shifted about 11 tons of food in the last year or so. So let's help them do that again. Sorry, carry on, please, Zdenek.
No, I just wanted to say that I like the honesty, and just the personality it sort of matches my own personality. So that's why I realized that and the way you accepted me as well as one of your own, let's say, despite me being an Arsenal fan, it's just it's nice, it's been nice. So that's why I have started following West Ham and West Ham fans, and I'm interested to hear in what they have to say. And I watch videos. Not all of them.
And
is
you
impossible.
invite me onto your show regularly.
I
to
do
hear
because
what I've got to say.
because well, there are reasons for it. Okay, first of all, I think for me one of the most important things, Clive, is that I believe you are very well spoken. I know I'm now throwing compliments at you and the West Ham fans, but it is true. I feel like you have a lot to offer to English learners because you are very articulate, well spoken. You choose your words carefully. You have really nice sort of flow of your speech. It's not too fast, but it's not too slow. You always present your arguments nicely. So for me, you are I have hit a jackpot with you, you know. So and the fact that you enjoy yourself, that's wonderful. So you are always one of the first teams on my team sheet.
Brilliant, thanks. I mean, sometimes I feel
first
that,
names on my team sheet. Sorry.
Sometimes, like when my daughter asks me, "Oh, what you've been doing today, Dad?" or anything, and I say that I've been on your show, and she goes, "Oh, that's great," because she's watched them back a few times.
Oh, really?
Okay. Yeah, because I'm on there, and she's kind of curious as to what, you know, and she'll say to me, "Oh," and then she'll phone me the next day and she go, "Oh, how's my little teaching assistant doing today?" and things like that. And I'll say to her, "Listen, you carry on, young lady." But even Monday evening, I said it felt like it was my first day back at school, didn't I? You know, kind of. But it's great. I really enjoy actually being on those because, as I said, you know, you ask nothing of us except for some points on our club and some of the games that we've watched over the weekend. So, you know, all you ask of us is our opinions, and that's all. I love that. You know?
I think this is the only way it's gonna work because, like, I can't give you homework, guys. Like, you're not gonna want to come, and also I want this to be an authentic experience for my viewers and for the English learners. I want them to experience what it is like to talk to football fans of different teams. And sometimes you come on and you may be angry because your team has just lost. You may even use some stronger words. Of course, we try to be careful with that because YouTube they sometimes want to cancel you if you go too far. So it's not like we pop in like C words or anything. Not really.
No.
But we are thinking it sometimes, you know.
I've probably come close to using it once or twice, but I've always restrained myself, you know. And you know, that's mainly out of respect for your English learners, you know. I mean, who wants to hear, you know, a guy with a London accent using that word?
Well, you would be surprised, Clive.
But it's not very attractive, and it doesn't come across very professional as either.
You say that, but that makes it even more authentic, and it's part of it. Like, the people that watch this show obviously are football fans themselves, so they probably swear when they play football. They probably swear when they speak about football in their native tongue. So, you know, I mean,
but I mean, there are certain lines that you try not to cross.
I think for me, the most important thing, Clive, is that we have respect for each other there. So I even invited a Tottenham fan. It was a bit hard for me. It was the first time ever we had a Tottenham fan on, and that's where you were there as well.
Yeah, so, and it was a good experience, I thought.
Yeah, and we made it work, you know, despite our differences.
And
without,
you know, I mean,
without swearing.
The thing is, you didn't get into the political side of the rivalry too much, which helped. And you genuinely wanted to know how he felt that his team had done in the window and stuff like that as well. So, and he could see that the inquiry was genuine, not just a.
No, of course.
You know, like, so. You know, I think it worked well because you were fair, he was fair, and everyone else was fair. So it was good. It was a good experience.
And part of the show is like taking the piss a little bit as well, you know. So it's okay like, to take the mickey out of each other a bit.
Yeah, I mean,
we can do that on the show, and I actually kind of wanted there, you know. I wanted to be there because it makes for a good show, doesn't it?
There was a little light-hearted banter, and it was nice. It was really good. You know,
Like, it's okay to say that Tottenham is shit on the show, and if you are smiling, if you are not saying it, if you are not throwing it into someone's face, being really upset and seeing red, I mean, I don't see it as an issue. He will say the same to me, right?
Of
And
course,
what's the problem?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
You know, but it's good, and you know, like I said, you know, you're happy for other people of other clubs to contact
Absolutely.
you, and if they want to come on and make a point about their club, the contact details are now on the screen again. I'll leave those on until.
Especially Clive, if they are fans of teams that I struggle finding fans of. So for instance, I can't find any Manchester City fans. I wonder why. But if you are a Manchester City fan watching this, I would love to have you on the show, because obviously your club is, I think, currently the one that everybody thinks is going to win the league again. How many times in a row? So it would be wonderful to talk to you about your team. I just
and
don't
if it's not you personally, and you've got a friend that's a Manchester United, Manchester City fan, sorry, please ask them to contact. You know, because you know, Zdenek is very objective, and
not always.
You know, well, no, but you are, because you're inviting people from other clubs to come and speak about those clubs. So you know, there's usually 3 or 4 people on screen at any one time. But everybody gets given their opportunity to speak.
Of course,
And you know, it's a really relaxed atmosphere. Don't worry about it. It's easy. You know, it's like sitting in your own lounge, chatting with a bunch of other football fans. It's great. It's really easy to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's one more thing I should probably mention. So I've realized there is also another connection between me and West Ham. So when you know how I told you that I was working in London in my early 20s back in 2005?
Yeah.
I actually did work in Romford on a construction site. We were building a massive hospital. You might even know that hospital. I don't know, or some of your viewers may know this hospital. It's like it has like several floors. It's like a huge construction. It has like the east, west, south, and north block.
I would imagine anybody in the East End of London will be familiar with the hospital.
So I was hoping to build that. I was working as a laborer there back in 2005, and that's where I came across first with Cockney culture, the rhyming slang, and I had to learn how to understand the accent, which was a bit hard for me at first, but then as I got into it, it became easier and easier. And then when I went back to the Czech Republic to study at university, I even chose Cockney accent for some of my Cockney accent and Cockney rhyming slang for some of my assignments there. You know, so I learned a few phrases and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. So there is this connection as well, that I actually worked alongside or with Cockneys, real Cockneys, and some of them supported West Ham. I remember it. And they were cool and always fun.
They're everywhere, mate. West Ham fans crawl out of the woodwork. Yeah, we're good at that. So well, really and truly, the only other thing now that I've got to ask you is, when are you going to come over and come to a game with me?
I have to, right? I have to.
Clearly.
The thing is, I'm planning to go to Vietnam now, so I'll have to do. I would have to do this in autumn or after I come back from Vietnam.
Yeah.
So
but look, whenever you're ready, honestly, you know you're welcome. You know, I'll take you to the Carpenters. You can't wear that though. You'll have to wear the one that you bought in the stadium store, or something neutral. There we go. Look.
Okay. I'm gonna show you guys, so you see that I'm not lying, that I actually do like West Ham. Yeah. So this is what I bought. Remember when Clive said that we met up and he showed me around and he took me to the store? Well, this is the shirt I ended up buying. I was like, I need to buy something that is not too obvious. Couldn't make it more obvious with the badge, right? But but the color is like your second choice color, right? Most of the first shirts would be with the claret.
Yeah, well, clearly,
Colour.
you know, a similar, you know, design, if you like, to the Arsenal shirt with the claret body and the light blue sleeves. You know, that's the traditional West Ham colouring. But there's actually an interesting story about how we got that colour shirt.
Okay.
Would you like to hear that?
Of course, of course.
Excellent. I'm not sure who the player was because my memory doesn't serve me that well. But a long time ago, when we were Thames Ironworks, they played against Aston Villa. And one of the guys exchanged jerseys with one of the Aston Villa players. And the West Ham jersey that went to Aston Villa became the goalkeeper's jersey because it was black. And the jersey that the guy brought back from the Aston Villa player was, you know, he would wear it in training and stuff like that. And that's how the club basically got the idea of using the claret body and the light blue sleeves because of a jersey exchange back in 1890 something, you know, before the turn of the 20th century. But yeah. And that was it, you know. They basically had their own jerseys made up with that colour scheme, and that's how it started. And I always used to say that they were the pretenders in claret and blue. Clearly, it's not that way, is it? Really, we stole their colour scheme. Apparently,
I like these stories, Clive. I have to say, like, if you guys want, in my latest show on Monday that I did, Clive told a story of himself because we were talking about what happened in the Chelsea Spurs game. Yeah, you know, remember how Cucurella's hair was pulled?
Yeah,
and nobody cared about that. The VAR didn't come back to it.
no.
So
Clive got red carded for that.
Clive ended up telling us a story about himself when he played football, and he got fined. He got red carded for doing something similar, for pulling another opponent's player's ponytail, and getting red carded for it, and also fined, and not willing to pay the fine for a long time.
Yeah, it was a £65 fine, and I made them wait 17 months for the money. It was hilarious.
That was the best moment of the show. That was so fun.
There's quite a few of those of my playing time. There's quite a few stories of naughtiness. I was quite a strong-willed character on the pitch, actually. You know, I was kind of Roy Keane mentality, if you like.
I wanted to say Roy Keane, but then I was like, well, hang on, I need to name someone from West Ham. Tomáš Řepka.
Yeah, if you like, or even Julian Dix. You know, not many could get around me. I wouldn't let them. Yellow card all day long. Not let them round you. You know, terrible for that. But I was more of a creative midfield player. Okay. So, you know, I didn't really have too much problem with, like, as in defence, but I did play left back quite a few times. So, you know, as a left back, you have to defend, and as a defender, you have to come away from the game with a yellow card at least, don't you? Surely. Otherwise, you've not been trying.
Well, pulling somebody's hair, come on, Clive, that went a bit too far.
Well, yeah, that was a little bit too far. Well, it was funny, though, because I said to him, you look like a girl. The actual fullness of it was, I said, you look like a girl with that ponytail. And he went, oh, yeah. And he started flicking it in my face. So I grabbed it and pulled it as he went to jump. I didn't do or say anything about it at that moment. And then as the ball came in, he went to jump. I just pulled on his ponytail. Yeah. You know, he kind of wound me up after I'd told him he looked like a girl. Yeah. You know. So, you know. But actually, you know, it's not a good thing. It isn't a good thing. Having, you know, as I said that on Monday, you know, I did say that, you know, having seen what happened to Cucurella the other day, it's not a very manly thing to do. It's not very professional, and it's not in keeping with the game, really. You know, hold on to the bottom of their shirt, or I've even held somebody's shorts before when they've gone to jump up, and they've gone up and their shorts have stayed where they were. I've done that to somebody before. That was quite funny as well. Yeah. Anyway, so we'll wrap things up a little bit. We will revisit and do another recording of some description very soon.
Okay.
But for this one, we'll wrap it up. I like to try and keep it under the hour, keep people interested, you know. Hopefully people are still watching. I'm sure they will be, bless them. But don't forget, guys and girls, the details are at the bottom of the screen now. If you want to find Zdenek, he's on YouTube, on that link there. I will put it all in the description of the video when I release it. And yeah, thank you very much for joining me on the very first ever Over Land and Sea.
You're very welcome. It's been a pleasure, and thanks for having me. And we should give a shout out to Peach as well.
Oh, bless you. Thank you. Yes, indeed. Thank you. Yeah. May he rest well and watch over us all with his madness, you know.
Because it was him who suggested inviting me onto your show as well.
Of course it was. Yeah. It was. And you know, he and I have came up with a few show concepts actually, and I'm going to put a few of them into action now as a mark of, you know, tribute to him. So yeah, that's very true indeed. So just a little update, which isn't much more of an update than the last time I updated on the Just Giving, was it, or GoFundMe page, I think it was actually, we had to raise some money to get a stone outside the stadium in Champions Walk. That target was doubled and some. So thank you everybody that did donate, and thanks to those that have donated more recently. We'll let you know when the stone's being laid, and we'll have a video on the channel. Actually, that will be on Random, not on Green Street Elites. Okay. Yeah. But thank you very much for joining me again, Zdenek. It's always a pleasure chatting with you, sir.
You're very welcome.
Thank you for the invite last week, on Monday for the. And if there's anything else you want me to do, you know where I am, and I will contact you also with ideas that I have, because I've got an idea that I'm definitely going to talk to you about. Okay, why not? I'm always up for it. Okay. Well, we'll end the stream there, and I'll play us out with a little music and a little video. Thanks for joining us. Come on, your hands.
Yo, watch the flex, yeah?
First time is massive, everywhere we go. Everywhere we go.